Hey ThermOWeb peeps, it's Katrina here on ThermOWeb's YouTube channel, and we are celebrating Gina K Design's new release. There are two new stamp, stencil, and die sets. This is called Wishing You Joy, and then the one that I worked with is called Autumn Wishes. So there are lots of fun stuff going on, so let's get started. So we're going to go over the supplies I used. I used the Autumn Wishes set and dies and stencil. This is the Gina K Designs Glitz in Pumpkin Spice. It's a limited edition color. There's also a Holiday Pine color. I used the Gina K tape runner, her foam tape, and then the foam squares. I also used, there's the stencil. You can kind of see it. You could see it in the promo section. I used Gina K Designs premium cardstock for all my die cutting. I used purple tape and pixie spray because we've got the stencil going on. I used Cartabella's Fall Market Collection, and then I used a lot of Distress Oxides. I will list all my supplies below. Those are affiliate links, so if you click on them, I get a small commission, but there's no extra charge to you. So here I'm spraying my the back of my pattern paper with the pixie spray and also my stencil. Just spray it on, let it dry a little bit, and then that helps hold the paper down to my craft mat that I'm using. And then I only wanted to use half of the stencil swirl part. I didn't want to use all of it because I was afraid it would take up too much. So there's the glitz, and the retail will have more of that. We just got samples of it. So I'm just spreading this on, and I've sped this up because I know you don't want to sit here and watch me. And I just moved the stencil over and kind of placed it to where I thought it would look okay. I was just a little short, and I do this at the top and the bottom of my page. So here I'm just finishing up the top, and the glitz is really neat because it gives you a little glitter without the glitter mess. You just have, and the glitz really isn't that messy. This is really the first time I've really played with it a lot, and it cleans up really easy. And it just goes on. I've got enough left over to do like several more projects. So I was pretty excited about that, especially since this is a limited edition color. And I love that rust color. It's so pretty for fall, and it goes great with fall projects. So here I'm finishing up, and then that took about an hour to dry. So here I'm going to stamp leaves. I used Distress Oxide inks, and I wasn't too worried about my stamping being perfect. With the Distress Oxides, they tend to dry chalky if you haven't used them before. I know lots of people have. This is my first time really playing with them and getting them out and using them. But I wasn't too worried, like if I stamped and I needed to stamp again. I did if I wanted to, and if I didn't want to, I didn't worry about it because they're fall leaves. Fall leaves are crunchy, they have imperfections, and I just kind of went with it. The only thing I didn't do was like miss some water on them. I felt like my imperfect stamping on that part kind of covered that, but you could also like miss some water on them to give them some spots and stuff. So here I think I'm using ripe I'm not sure if it's carved pumpkin or the ripe permimicin. I don't know how to say that word. And I stamped a bunch of leaves in all these different colors. I combined colors on some of them. I just picked colors that were in my paper collection that I used because there was teals, and it was kind of a off-color fall collection, which I liked because I liked the teals and the colors of the oranges and stuff. They were a little more neutral, kind of mixed in a little bit. So here I'm just stamping some more leaves, and I used just a bunch of my scrap pieces of paper to stamp all these images on. I don't honestly know how many images I stamped. It was quite a few. I don't make you sit through all of that because I'm sure you don't want to. Here, this is where I did like partial stamping. I took the pad and just kind of did a partial part of the stamp. This is great for solid stamps. It's great for little, detailed stamps. You'll see that in the trees. And I really didn't worry about my ink pads getting contaminated. I'm not that much of a purist on that. I figured lighter color into dark color, it'll be okay. So I'm just cleaning that up. And so here you can see I've stamped, and now I'm going to stamp. These also have inside images for like the veins. So I'm trying to figure out, this was the first time I'd really played with them. I was trying to figure out which ones go with which. And there's one for each of the leaves. So that maple leaf has an inside, the oak leaf has an inside, and I'm not sure what other kind of leaf that is. Somebody with some tree knowledge, my schooling has left me. I'm not sure on that. So, and on these, I used various colors of Distress Oxide ink. Some showed up better than others, depending on the color combinations. The colors did change after I stamped them, so they weren't exactly the way they looked whenever I stamped them. They faded out a little bit, got that chalky look, but I liked how that looked. It reminded me of fall. So here, I'm just placing them down again. And on these, I wasn't too careful about lining up this layering. I do like this technique. I think it's fun. It adds some different texture to your stamps, even though they're flat. It adds a little bit of texture and dimension. So here I stamped with orange, where the first ones I stamped with a brown color. And I'm just going to stamp that again. And then I'm not sure what color I use for the next one. And those leaves I stamped with orange, and it was barn door. I know it was barn door was the color I used. All the colors, like I said, will be listed below, in case you guys are wondering and really like those colors. So I have trouble with my I need to get some of those bigger magnets. So I think, yeah, those I stamped with the yellow. It was crushed olive was the color I stamped there. And I just mixed my colors. I didn't worry about if I thought they were going to turn muddy, but you can kind of see there how that turns out. Now here we're going to stamp the trees. There's two different trees with two different sets of leaves that go with the trees. It's just like the single leaves that we did. So I'm going to ink these up. And actually, when I get done, I've inked the trees in two different colors of brown for the trunks, and then the leaves are different colors also. And I love how the trees turned out. I think these are my favorite out of the whole project. I like the single leaves, but these trees are just awesome because of these little layering things. And you kind of put them on there, and you'll be able to tell where to get the leaves at, because you just fit the stems, yeah, the stems from the trees. What are those called? Those limbs. You fit the limbs in between the leaves. I am having some trouble today, guys. So here I stamped with three different colors. I did a yellow and an orange. Oh no, actually I did two here. So I did a yellow and an orange. I think I did, actually I did a red. I did barn door, and I did fossilized amber. But I love how that looks. It's so fun. So here's everything I die cut. That I stamped and die cut out. I stamped everything first, and then I went back and die cut everything out as I was sitting in front of the TV. So there's my page with the stencil on it, and it's all dried and we're ready to go. I used the Gina K dot adhesive runner to put my page together, and I love this. You'll see here, because you can still pull your piece of paper up if you make a mistake. I actually put one piece down wrong, and then I didn't have it lined up quite correctly. I have issues with trying to line up on the side. I am not the perfect scrapper, let's put it that way. I'm lucky if I have things straight. So see, I'm pulling it up right there, even after I'd rubbed it down, and that wasn't quite even. So I'm just putting that down. And those are from those pieces of paper are from the 6x6 pad. I like the smaller pattern on those for the background. And then this is from the 12x12 paper. See, I love those colors. They're so fun for fall. So we're just going to lay that down. And then here is where, this is a picture, it was from 2012, of our 4 dogs. Sadly, 2 of them are gone now. But we went to a park called Ritter Springs, and it's kind of like a forest, basically. I mean, there's not really, you think of a park as having play toys and, you know, merry-go-rounds and that kind of stuff. This is more like a hiking park type thing, and we don't have too many of those around here, so we decided to take the dogs on an autumn walk. But I wanted to create, the reason I did so many trees was because I wanted to create like a forest type thing, because that's what reminded me of when we took the dogs there, because there were just trees everywhere and they were in color. And even though the trees behind me were green, hadn't changed, but we walked and there were a bunch of trees that were in color, and it was beautiful. So here I've laid everything out kind of how I want it, and I'm going to take that purple tape and I'm going to pick up that first row right there, so that keeps them the way I laid them down. This is a great way to kind of remember how you do things if you're not sure. And I couldn't get that one to stick on there because I wanted them at different heights so that you could see the different sets of leaves and that kind of thing. So I'm adjusting that. And here I'm going to use the foam squares from Gina K and just apply them all over the back of my items, my trees. And I don't make you sit through the whole thing, I don't think. Actually speed it up. So we're just applying all those foam squares on the back, and then remove the backing off of them. And then because you've got that tape on there, then you can just pull it off, and it doesn't remove, it removed very little of the ink. It just removed some of the chalky stuff, didn't tear the paper, and you've got them perfectly placed, and you don't have to worry about if you've got them in the right place or not. So I loved how that worked. Just having a little trouble. My nails are not good. So once I get this down, I wasn't sure how many trees I needed to fill this in, because I didn't like die cut a bunch of them without stamping them. I just stamped them first. But I had this idea in my head, and I was going to make it work. And I love these trees. Like I said, they're like my favorite thing of the whole release. That's why I worked with this collection, because I loved it. And I popped my picture up with some foam tape. And I like to put, whenever I do adhesive on my pictures, I like to put it near the inside and leave around the edge of the picture blank with no adhesive, because that way you can tuck things under your picture if you want to, and still adhere them down if you want to embellish more, because I tend to embellish quite a bit. So that's why the foam tape's kind of not on the edges, because I wanted to leave it in case I wanted to tuck some stuff in. So I'm going to put my picture down, and then I decided I wanted that tree over there. The side of that picture was kind of blank, so we put the tree down there, and I did the foam tape again on that. And then I pulled out the chipboard stickers from this collection. I had bought the matching ones, and I was trying to find, I looked on the sticker sheet and I wasn't sure, but I like that Hello Fall. And then you'll see me, I checked to make sure if there had been a stamped sentiment that said Hello Fall, I would have used it, but there wasn't. So I just pulled out that chipboard sticker as my title. And I put 2 layers of foam tape on the sides here, and then 1 layer of foam tape in the middle, because of the way the trees are on my layout. So those the first tree and the third tree on that first row, they sit a little higher than that middle tree on that first row. So that's why I did that. So we're just going to stick that on there. And then I decide, oh, I've still got some trees left. Let's see if we can add them. And if I'd had more colors of Distress Oxide, I probably would have made more tree color variations. Okay, so now we're going to go, these are all those single leaves that I cut, and I wanted them to look like they were blowing in the wind and create a pile. So that's what I'm doing here, is I kind of laid these out. I got them positioned out. I didn't make you sit through that because that took me a while to do that. And then I'm applying a sticker that was from the sticker sheet from the collection. I really wish they would make the stickers as long as the sticker sheet, like the 12 by 12. But I was just centering it. That's why I pulled it up once. And then this pile of leaves, I just started arranging. I kind of had an idea in my head of how I wanted them, and I just made sure that the colors looked good together. There weren't too many colors that were the same together. And some of them are flat with the adhesive runner. Some of them are popped up with foam tape. You'll see here, I take, oh, there's another chipboard piece that I put on there. Colorful leaves. I thought that was perfect for this piece. And these leaves right here, I use the tape runner on part of it, and on the bottom, and then I bend it and I put a piece of foam tape on the back of it. So that sticks the bottom down, but then it leaves the top up to give it a little dimension. And I do the same thing right here with this one. I just, it gives your stamped images dimension, and it's a great way, and it's not a lot of dimension, so it doesn't bulk up your layout if you don't like a lot of bulkiness. This layout's not very bulky at all for me. So in here, I'm just finishing up, and then I decide I want to add a few more leaves, since it was looking as much as I was trying to even it out, pretty much is what I was doing. There was so much going on down in that bottom corner. I felt like I needed more leaves at the top, so I just added some random ones with those foam squares from Gina K. And I love that there's so many different colors of leaves, because that's what fall's about, is color. The dogs had so much fun on this trip. They were sniffing, and, you know, there was probably skunks and possums and all kinds of things that I had no idea what they were sniffing, but they were having fun. So there's a little creek that they went by, and they had lots of fun on that too. So I'm just about to finish up here. Like I said, my nails are horrible right now. I've broken them like 3 times. I think that happened in the last video too. They don't stay very well. So here I'm all finished up, and you'll see my completed layout. I just added some journaling off camera. I added a few extra leaves up by that colorful leaves. And so thanks for stopping by. I hope you love this layout. I love to stamp and die cut and add it to layouts. It challenges me, and I like that. So thanks for stopping by the ThermOWeb channel. Talk to you later.